Well, we're going first to North Queensland this morning, where thousands of residents have been told to evacuate from floods that have already claimed a life. Some parts of Townsville have copped more than a metre of rain in just a couple of days, and more is on the way.
Several major flood warnings are in place across the so-called black zone. Townsville Airport has reopened this morning, but more than 100 schools are closed, and as many as 2,100 homes are at risk of flooding. Joe O'Brien is at Townsville's Disaster Management Centre for us this morning. Joe, an unprecedented amount of rainfall hitting this region. What happened overnight and what's the situation as people are waking up this morning?
Yeah, Bridget, this rain is just absolutely relentless and the rainfall totals are mind-blowing. I'm in Townsville, about an hour north of here is a place called Paluma. It's had another 600 millimetres of rain since 9 a.m. yesterday. The day before it had 600 millimetres of rain. So the equivalent of Sydney's annual rainfall total in just 2 days, and it had a heap of rain the day before that as well. Ingham, where there's been really bad flooding, we saw the images of that from yesterday, it's had another 400 millimetres of rain in the last 24 hours. The good news here in Townsville is that with the Ross River, it's kind of at about the same level it was yesterday, and so this is where there are six suburbs where there are designated areas that are likely to flood, and the authorities are concerned that 1,700 homes here in Townsville could have water above the floorboards. So the good news is that the Ross River is not moving dramatically at the moment. The concerning news is that there is more rain to come. The Bureau is expecting possibly another 250 mils today, possibly 90 the day after that and 90 the day after that. So this is not over yet for the people of Townsville, even though there's a bit of optimism about what's happening with those black zones, but authorities are still urging people not to return to those areas.
And Joe, you've mentioned some of the other communities. There must be concern for smaller communities. There are so many remote regions, but also other towns surrounding Townsville. How are they faring?
Yeah, Cardwell, about 3 hours north of here, there were homes, there were swiftwater rescues and homes affected there yesterday. At Ingham is probably the worst affected community from this. We had that terrible incident with the SES boat capsizing around this time yesterday, actually. 6 people on board, 2 SES crew and 4 members of the public. A woman drowned, and a reminder of the dangerous work that SES does in support of people. We often talk in these disasters about the hundreds and hundreds of jobs that SES attend, and every one of those jobs has a risk in some form or the other, and some of those jobs, some of those risks can be fatal. And so that's had a really sobering effect on the efforts to combat the worst effects of this system. And the hope is today that that this system is easing off a bit, or you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's going to continue for several days yet. The heavy rain again today, but possibly starting to ease off. The Bureau is saying maybe that's too strong a term, but the rainfall will decrease in intensity to an extent in the days after that. Blue water here in just north of Townsville, there was water through homes there yesterday as well. So this is affecting multiple communities along a large stretch of the North Queensland coast.
All right, Joe, thanks very much for your coverage this morning. And remember to stay tuned to ABC Local if you're in those affected areas. Also in Victoria, really important to get that update information and stay safe out there. Let's get some of the morning's top stories now with Emma.
Thanks, Bridget. Police are looking for 3 men after a group of women were egged in a suspected anti-Semitic attack in Bondi on Saturday night. The commander of Strike Force Pearl, which was set up to deal with the recent spate of attacks, says the 5 women were potentially targeted because of what they were wearing. It comes as Western Australian police investigate an anti-Semitic graffiti attack on a home over the weekend in Perth's western suburbs. Canada and Mexico say they will respond to US President Donald Trump's new tariffs. The US will impose 25% tariffs on all Mexican and Canadian products. That excludes energy from Canada, which that will be instead at 10%. Chinese imports will be slapped with a 10% tariff. The Northern Territory Health Department is urging Territorians to be on alert for measles symptoms after detecting a case of the infectious disease in Darwin. It's believed a traveller brought the disease back from Southeast Asia. That person was on an Air North flight from Darwin to Cairns on the 24th of January and returned on the 27th while infectious. People on board are being contacted. House prices remained steady in January despite falls in Melbourne and Sydney. CoreLogic data shows Melbourne lost 0.6% to be down 3.3% over the past year. Sydney was down 0.4% for the month, but it still remains in positive territory for the year. Hobart remains stable, while Adelaide, Darwin, Perth and Brisbane increased. Well, it is Groundhog Day in the United States and everyone's favourite animal, Punxsutawney Phil, has predicted a longer winter in front of a record crowd.
There's a shadow up here. Get ready for 6 more weeks of winter this year.
Yay for them. The tradition in Pennsylvania has been going since 1887, but a recent study of Phil's accuracy from the past 10 years has found Phil is only actually correct about 30% of the time.